Hi there, I care and you matter. I'm Shannon and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to share a little bit with you about myself that most people don't know. And this is going to seem really bizarre, but I hate rubber bands. I loathe them. I hate them. The colored ones are a little better, but they all eventually wear down. They all eventually break and snap, usually at the most inopportune times. So I'm going to share today my 3 rubber band alternatives, where I get them, and why and how I use them instead of rubber bands. And truth be told, they range in price, but for me personally, they earn their weight in gold. They work just as hard as I do. And I'm going to leave links below to the ones that I'm able to do so. So first of all, the quickest and easiest next step away from rubber bands is the silicone bands. Now, I like the rainbow colors, and you can find these in flat versions, which I didn't really care for. I found that they stuck to things, which might be a good thing for different uses. But I like the round version, and I'm going to, like I said, I'm going to leave a link to these below. This particular brand is Rapid Storage. And I love the fact that they're color-coded. I can use them to color-code things, and they're just pretty, right? But they don't wear down like traditional rubber bands do. Now, these can be pretty expensive, but they don't break. I would literally have to cut these in order to break them, and they got really good stretch despite the fact that they're not made out of rubber or latex. So that's option number 1. Next, I think these are called Quirkies. And while they're not really, I guess they are a rubber band of sorts, but it's fabric, it's covered, or it's at least covered with some kind of woven thread. But it's not just a rubber band per se. It has the addition of these little hooks. And what I love about these is they actually wrap around things. So for example, let me show you here. Oh, it's too big for that. Let's see, what do I have? Maybe I can get around this one. So you just wrap the band around and then hook the band and the hook together. There you go. You can see it right there. What I use these for? Cord management. I use them for extension cords that aren't being used. I wrap up the long cord, and then I wrap a couple of these around it to grip it and hold it together. I like using a couple of these together. They come in all different sizes. So oftentimes, if one isn't large enough to go around what I need it to, I will use the hook of one to attach to one hook. And then I bundle up my cords, and I will literally just, I guess you'd call it bungee, group them together around my desk, a table leg on my desk. And I can do it high up enough so you can't see it. So they're great for cord management, for computers, electronics. And because it's a nice, not really soft, but it's fabric or thread covered, it's got some kind of woven covering around the band itself. They don't break. They won't snap. They don't break down like a traditional rubber band would. So again, I've had these for years. They do eventually, the elasticity runs out, but I've had these for years and cannot recommend them highly enough. In fact, I've given sets since, yes, Quirky, that's the name of them. I've given sets of these away for Christmas because you know what, once you have them, you just continue to find good uses for them. But my number 1 use for these in particular is cord management. Last but not least, I like to make my own rubber bands. Specifically, I love index cards, and so I make book decks, which I talked about in another video. I'll leave a link to that video down below. But I don't like using rubber bands, like I said at the beginning. And so I buy 1/4 inch braided elastic, and then I just cut it into 6-7 inch long strips, loop it, tie it in a knot, snip off the edge, and then use a little Dritz fray check. This is a sewing notion. This stops any kind of fabric, ribbon, lace, elastic from fraying. You just put a little dab, and a little dab will do you, just a tiny, tiny bit. This bottle will literally last me for years. I'll leave a link to this down below as well. But I like to get all sorts of pretty colors. You can get, you could keep it as simple as you want and buy all one color. You could buy a bunch of white or a bunch of silver or gray braided elastic online and just do a bunch of those. But why do I like these better than rubber bands? One, they're colorful. Two, but so are those silicone bands I showed you earlier, right? I mean, these are plenty pretty too. But I don't like using these on my index cards. Instead, I like using this because it lies flat. Let me put it around here so I can show you again. There we go. It lies flat, doesn't catch on things, and it's really easy to take off and put back on again. It doesn't hurt my skin like sometimes the silicone can. The silicone is a little grippy. I don't like the feel of that. I guess I'm a little fickle that way with sensory issues. But I just love the fabric, the elastic, the braided elastic. And you could use any kind of elastic you want. You could use thicker elastic. I just prefer the braided because it is flat and it's thick enough without being too much. And so, yeah, I'll leave a link to the Etsy shop where I buy this. You can buy lots of different colors. She even sells grab bags for pretty cheap. And I just sit there and I make a bunch of these at one time. And then I just, like I said, put a little dab of the fray check. And then I set it on a piece of paper to dry because you want to be careful of the fray check while it dries. Put it on a safe surface. And then I just keep them in a little Ziploc. And then they're ready to go when I am. Real easy peasy. So there you have it. 3 specific options for holding things together that aren't traditional rubber bands. So yeah, I hope that I've given you some new ideas, maybe even a solution for cord management. If you're anything like me, you hate seeing that spider web, that messy mess of cords. These quirky bands really can clean it up quick and easy for you. So there you have it. Thanks so much for watching this video. Until the next time, I'll see you later. Bye-bye.